A waitress handed back a lost wallet. Not knowing the CEO who owned it would change her future forever. Rain streamed down the foggy diner windows as Elena wiped the last empty table of the evening. The lingering scent of fried eggs and faint, burnt coffee hung in the air. It was close to 11 p.m., and the weary hum of the fluorescent lights buzzed above her, a sound too monotonous for sleep, too constant for her own agitated thoughts. Tips had been unusually sparse tonight. She twisted her brown curls into a loose bun and glanced at the corner booth, the one by the window that always dripped when it stormed. About an hour ago, a man had sat there completely alone, dressed a little too sharply for this part of town. He'd ordered black coffee and a chicken sandwich, barely touching either. Elena had done her best to offer a smile, despite her aching feet and a headache that she couldn't afford to medicate. "Everything okay, sir?" she'd asked. He'd only nodded, his gaze fixed on the table. Now the booth was empty. She moved to clean it and paused. Half hidden between the cushion and the tabletop was a black leather wallet, clearly expensive. Her breath caught. She picked it up, her heart beginning to pound. It felt heavy. Inside were crisp $100 bills, far more money than she'd seen in a month, a platinum credit card, and a driver's license, Ethan Blake. No photo, just a quiet air of wealth about every item. No receipt, no note. Elena stared at the bills again. Just one could buy her mom's medicine. Two could keep the landlord quiet. All of it. It was more than she dared to dream. Her fingers trembled. For a moment, she sat there frozen, the world shrinking around her as the rain outside intensified its drumming against the glass. No one would know. The cameras didn't reach this booth. The man might not even remember where he'd lost it. But then she imagined her mother's voice, soft yet firm. "You never lose who you are, no matter what the world takes from you." Elena stood. She walked straight to her manager's office and handed him the wallet. "Someone left this in booth 6. He raised an eyebrow. "You sure you want to turn that in? Looks like a month's rent right there." "I'm sure." He studied her for a moment, then nodded slowly. "I'll mail it to the address on the license." "You did the right thing, kid." Elena forced a smile. "I hope he gets it back." Back in the staff room, she pulled on her worn jacket. The rain hadn't eased. She didn't own an umbrella. Didn't own much of anything, really. But tonight at least she had her peace. She stepped out into the stormy night. The wind bit at her skin, and puddles soaked her shoes within seconds. She tightened her coat and began the long walk home, moving carefully to avoid slipping on the slick pavement. Her neighborhood was dark, power outages common here. Streetlights flickered faintly above the alley where she lived. Her apartment was tiny, just one room with creaky floorboards and peeling wallpaper, where her mother slept peacefully under a thin blanket. Elena tiptoed to the kitchen, boiled water for tea, and checked the medicine drawer. "Only one dose left," she sighed, placing the cup on the table and sitting in silence. As she sipped, she thought of the man in the booth, Ethan Blake. She didn't know who he was or where he came from, but she hoped he was home safe, and that his wallet would find its way back to him. What she didn't know was that her simple act of honesty was already setting in motion changes in her life she couldn't possibly imagine. Because sometimes the smallest kindness creates the loudest echo. The rhythmic ticking of an antique grandfather clock filled the vast silence of the penthouse office. City lights sparkled like scattered diamonds through the panoramic windows, but Ethan Blake barely noticed. He sat perfectly still, fingers pressed against his temples, eyes closed. It had been an exhausting day. The board meeting ran over schedule. The stock was stable, but the energy felt drained from the company and from him.